Hello, everyone. This is Laurie Burke. Can everybody hear me? I see everybody that's in queue right now. I just want to make sure you guys can hear me on the live stream. Uh, hello, 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 all. Quarantine Flash, this is great. Oh, there we go. Okay, so that is working because I can hear myself. This is weird, isn't it? It's like my own private monitor. Anyway, thank you for tuning in. Hello, Ryan. Hello, Shane. Hello, Brent. Hello, everybody from around the US. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Laurie Burke, and I'm here for Backstage Magazine to talk a little bit about voiceover. I did another video for them, guess about a week ago. So if you want to check that out, I know that that still lives on their channel. So, and that was kind of an overview, a very long overview. This time I want to take a little bit more Q&A, but I will go over some of the basic things that we're going to need in the studio, that you're going to need to get going in this voiceover career, if that's what you choose to do. I know I said this before, but right now is sort of the perfect time. I think that voiceover is going to become increasingly in demand because of what's happening. Of course, for now, I've been very busy, knock on wood, just because people haven't been able to do live action. So they might even have footage of something for a commercial, and then they want to put voiceover on top of it, right? They might have the B-roll. So a little bit about me, just so you know where I'm coming from. I'm an actress as well. So I know a lot of you guys are too, because you're obviously subscribed to Backstage. But I'm a singer as well, and I've been in voiceover for 15 plus years. And have studied broadcast communication as my degree. So I kind of started at from the get-go. However, I rolled into voiceover probably about a little bit over 15 years ago, and I've been doing it ever since, and very, very grateful for it. It's a wonderful profession. So that being said, I've also recently done it. Voiceover can be in all facets, right? You guys are going to set up for your home studio, but know that just because you're setting up your home studio, you can still record and get your voice out in many different directions, right? So it can be podcasts, it can be maybe you filmed a commercial or a movie, a lot of indies or lower budget, let's say we didn't get the sound on that, things like that. You can then help them out, or they can pay you for it as well, to dub in your own lines or add a voiceover into it, or create your own movies and things like that. So I think all of this information hopefully will be very useful to you, I hope. I'm going to take all your questions. There's a lot of them. I'm so excited. Okay, so I'll try to talk even quicker than I usually do. First of all, I said this before as well, the number one thing that you need is training. Why do I keep saying that? Not only because I'm a teacher, but also because I trained, and it brings you confidence, but also to know your instrument. It's like buying a Lamborghini and not knowing how to drive, right? So don't build this huge vocal booth and, spend tons of money on microphones and things like that and not know how to use it correctly, because it's going to be a waste of everything, right? So learn that first. Okay. So just promise me you'll do that, and we'll be okay. So I'll tell you one of my stories that came into my mind when I was asked to do this was that I got this really great. I was working for a TV station. It was one of my first things for voiceover. I wasn't working for the TV station. I made a demo. They hired me to do their promos. Oh yeah, sure. I totally know how to do that. Right. What did I have to do? I had to figure out how to record. Now, this is before we had YouTube. This is before we had any of the things like, the setups, the booths, anything like that, as far as like accessible to just regular laymen like me. So I called my brilliant brother, who is a composer and sound and drummer. He's like a sound master. So thank God I had him to tell me some of the things that I'm going to tell you right now, just to get you started so that you can at least do it. I got the job. I worked there for like a year. I started with a microphone. Some singers out there, I know, are there any singers out there? And yes, I do coach. You could go to my website, laurieburke.com, and hit me up, and we'll set up a coaching session. Thank you for asking. Noise cancellation. Okay, we'll get to these in a second. Do you guys have any musicians out there, singers? Yes. Okay, so I know that most of you, if you're a singer, you have an SM58, right? Okay, I'm not saying that this is for your voiceover studio permanently, or that if you go into this, look, lots of singers. But I'm saying my first experience was I had an SM58, and that is without a phantom power. I can go into that in another video. And then I got a preamp. So we're going to go over this. So I used an SM58, just remember this, and a preamp into my computer. And I did use my SM58 for quite some time and it sounded good, as long as you have a good space to record it in. Okay. So I just wanted to get that out of the way for all of you musicians that are like, I need to get another microphone. Yes, you should get probably a large diaphragm microphone. However, for singers that need to do something right away and want to do voiceover, that's the way you do that. Same for the people, we have movie makers out there that make your own movies. Do you have some people here that create your own movies and maybe have a Zoom, right? That has is also a microphone that you can use in a specific kind of setup. I'm going to give more in-depth things. I've decided after the last time I did this, I had so many questions afterwards that I'm going to start making videos and put them on my YouTube channel. So you guys please sign up for my YouTube channel and I will go in depth for all of these microphone kind of hack things that you can do in the beginning. And then as you get going, and if you find out that you really want to do this for a living, you can, invest more in more expensive microphones, more expensive equipment. You could be like me and get things that you don't need, but you really want. It just becomes one of those things. Okay, so I'll go in that for afterwards. So here is the equipment just to start off with. Obviously, you need a microphone. I've already mentioned large condenser microphone is what you'd like to do. It is a stronger audio signal than a USB mic. Now, I know that most of you starting out will probably have a USB mic, right? Blue or a Yeti. Everybody makes USB mics now. Is that okay? It's okay to start out with for your auditions and things like that. Is it the best? No, right? If you're going to do this professionally, you'd probably want to get a better equipment, but is it okay for now? Sure. Now, here is the difference between the USB mic, right, and the large condenser diaphragm that I'm talking about. Okay, so this is a large condenser diaphragm microphone. There are so many to choose from. I think I said in the last one, you could go to, Guitar Center and do a mic shootout, which would be great. But also I am making a video on this. I will go over and I will review some mics. That's going to be on my YouTube channel. But it's all going to be dependent on your voice, your vocal range. I've got obviously a lower range. That's going to be a different mic than someone with a higher range voice. Okay. So, but with this large condenser microphone, you're going to want a pop filter, right? Now, some of you might already know this, but I'm just going to say this anyway. Now, there are two different kinds of pop filters. Well, the main ones. This one is a mesh one, and then there's a steel one. This is a steel one. Okay. So I personally like the steel ones because when what it does is it takes out those pops, those plosives. Right? The steel ones kind of go, whoop, so what you're saying just kind of goes up. And this kind of just diffuses in. Okay. So I have found that this has worked a lot better for me. All right. So again, that's for that could be a whole other video. But you are going to want that. Okay. This microphone, large condenser microphone, came with a basket, which is what you see here. And then you're going to want a mic stand to put it on. Right. Now, I also have an arm behind me for another mic that hangs down. Wait until you get, your whole space set up and then go for where you're going to put it. My YouTube channel, sorry, I keep saying that. It's Laurie Burke. I think it's, youtube.com/Laurie Burke. So that should be all below here. I think Backstage will put that on there for you, I think. So anyway, so you've got your mic stand because you don't want to be holding a mic. That's silly, right? You're going to have noises. You want to have it straight in front of you so that you speak right into the microphone. And then you're going to have your pop filter in front of it. A lot of microphones come with packages with all of this. Okay. You're also going to want some really good headphones. When you're getting headphones, at the beginning, sure. Can you use your little earbuds? I mean, if that's not what you want, but if you have to in a pinch, like what I had to do, and it surrounds everything, yes, but you're going to want them to go over your ears. Okay. You're going to want to block all the noise from outside, getting inside, right? And you want to hear your clear voice. That's another thing. You better really learn to love your voice, right? Because you're going to be in here for a long time, right? Which leads me to the next thing. Should you stand or should you sit? If you're doing an audiobook, obviously, you got to make yourself comfortable. I prefer to stand when I'm doing voiceovers because it opens up your chest And again, much like singing, you want everything open, and so that you can breathe correctly and take in big breaths through your diaphragm. Okay. But if you're going to be in there for hours, at least have a chair to take a break in, and always take a break. I've noticed this because I went for a walk yesterday in Los Angeles, and had a half an hour discussion with a squirrel on preamps. So, because you see nobody, you're just like everyone's doing right now, but even more so in a booth. You're just like, oh my God. Anyway, I love what I do, but that's one of the things that happens. So you've got your mic stand, you've got your headphones, you've got your good mic, and you've got your pop filter. Okay. So I'm going to go into what an audio interface is, or a preamp, as I keep referring to it. Those are four microphones like this that go. So I'm going to try to explain this in the best way that I can. All right. So the sound waves from your mic, right, converts into a digital format into your computer. The middleman for that is your preamp or your audio interface. Okay. There's a lot of companies that make great ones. I have Focusrite, which I love. However, I've had Shure, I've had M Audio. Again, that's a that's a whole other video for another time of which one has what. But that is the best way that you can control your sound and have the best sound. If you have a microphone, a internet microphone, it's already in there. Or it actually doesn't use it really. I mean, I don't know the specs of which microphones you're using, but it goes directly into the computer. So there is no middleman. Okay. So hopefully that makes some sense. You're also going to want a computer, as you know, because you're probably watching me on your computer or your phone. On your computer, usually you're going to have some sort of software that either came with it or that you can download very easily. I know that I have Mac. I'm a Mac girl. So GarageBand was super easy to start with, and you could use that forever. Sorry, it looks like I have something in my hair, but anyway, hair, makeup, please. No. But anyway, GarageBand is good. You could go up to Logic after that, which I know my brother is huge into Logic, and I have that as well, or Pro Tools, which is what is the industry standard. Usually when you go into a studio, you get hired into these very expensive studios and they usually use Pro Tools. But I know Audacity, I believe, is one of the things that some of my students have used on their PCs. So those are the software you're going to need to record. Okay. So you want to look at that. You want to be very comfortable with that. Lots of them are very easy. I am so down with GarageBand. I can't even tell you. Logic is kind of like GarageBand on crack, I think, but it's the same principle. So once you learn one, you can move up slowly, as I've been saying with everything else. Please don't invest a lot of money in something yet before you know, A, that you really like this. Okay. And B, that you have the space, that you have everything else, and that you have the training, because otherwise you're really just wasting your money. Okay. In my opinion. So now I think the most important thing, actually, maybe I'll stop and look. Yeah, Logic is great. I'll just stop and see if there's any other ones that I have. Yeah, somebody has Audacity, and it's pretty straightforward. I like how everybody can talk to each other and answer each other's questions too. This is so great that there's chat like that, so that everyone is asking. The half circle sound shield, is that okay? How can I improve that? That's a great question. Okay, so if you've seen those, and you could get them pretty inexpensively, most of these on Amazon right now, they'll probably be a delay, but they're a half shield like this, and then they have foam inside of it. Is it okay? It's better than nothing, for sure. Do I think it's the best? I don't. And I'll tell you why I don't. The microphone is picking up the most where you're speaking into it. Yeah. So it's going to be the front. Okay. Actually, that's not the front. This is the front. I'll just put that down. I'm not sponsored by anybody, but this is Rode. Anyway, so here's the front. You know this because it's got the dot on it. By the way, there is a front and back to your microphones, and there is a left and right to your headphones. Just something to keep in mind when you're starting out. So your sound waves are going in here, right? So this is great, but that's not really where you're trying to get the sound to absorb from, if that makes sense. I mean, it helps. It's great, but it's personally, I think you need something everywhere. So you're going to need something behind you too, and that will help. Whether it be sound blankets or things like that. We're going to go over the space in a minute. That'll help, right? Because if that makes sense, I don't mean that these are bad. Another thing I didn't like about these is there's nowhere to put your copy. This is something to really think of too. Besides all of this that I'm telling you to have, you're going to need something to put your computer on. The best when you get down the line is to have your computer outside the room, because you don't want that noisy fan of the computer, right? Which can go on usually when it's not plugged in, I believe, if you're running on battery power. You want to have as much noise outside the room. That being said, have it as far away from you as you can, right? There are different setups that you can do that too pretty easily, but that's when you get down the line. Now, you're going to want something also to put your copy on. What I used to really, really love paper, obviously, but two things with paper is you have to have it far away and off, because if you have it in front of you, I wonder if I have any paper here now. Let's just say like this, you can hear a difference. Well, you can hear it like that, but it reflects off the paper, right? Oh, I should have white balance. Anyway, it reflects off the paper. So, and you can't hold it because it'll go like this, right? So you need either a music stand for you musicians again, to put that on, or you can use a music stand again for something like this. This is just I used an Amazon Fire tablet. I have a iPad too, whatever you want to use. I put my scripts on there, and that way I don't have to touch anything. And one of these, funky little, arms that you can hang to move it around, so that it's not right in front of you again. Have it to the sides. Okay. Yeah, I think that's because it's a reflective surface. I'm going to go over what that is now. So, and then we'll get more into more. Yes, M audio is great. You have a Studio 2i2 and it's okay, meaning functional for auditions. If somebody, Bradley, Studio 2i2, I think you mean a Focusrite. I love Focusrite and I like a 2i2. So I think Scarlett is great. I don't know. I just happen to like Focusrite. So, okay. So sorry. Now I'm going to go into the space, which is basically, I think really one of the most important things besides knowing what you're doing is the space that you're doing it in. Okay. So let me give you a little example of how sound travels. And then maybe that'll help you, because I think that there's a million ways you can set up your studio. If you really get creative with it, which everybody watching right now is creative because you're interested in this voiceover business or acting, and singing and everything else. So if you were in, let's say, a big dance hall, if they have a dance hall, I don't even know what the 1940s, I don't know. And you are a big room and you're throwing balls around the room, right? Well, it's going to bounce off all the walls. Right? Maybe they do that in dance halls. I don't know, but it's going to bounce up all the walls. And if you, or let's even say another analogy I would say is, it's a sound wave, right? So think of that you're in like a wave pool, right? And you're in a thing like that. Well, the waves are going to go up and they're going to bounce off and they're going to do all this, right? That's your voice. That's your voice going around. So it's either a ball bouncing or a wave bouncing, right? If you have a big sponge on the wall, that's going to stop the water, isn't it? It's not going to come back to you. It's going to absorb the water. That's why we talk about sound absorption. Okay. It's the same thing if you have, if you're throwing balls around the room, right? If you put up a big foam or big padding thing like that, boom, and the ball's going to drop. It's not going to bounce around. Okay. Because when you speak into a microphone, it's directional, but then it also goes all over and then comes back and creates that sound. So that is why we build booths and places to record that will just deaden that sound so that it doesn't go bouncing all over the place. So if you can get that in your mind, you can come up with a lot of different ways to set up your studios, and inexpensively to start out with, for sure. So you want a quiet space. You want, as far away as you can from noises and, honking horns and, babies and husbands and wives, I guess, or whatever. There's a great thing. Sorry, I can't talk. I have to go in the studio. But really, you want as much, quiet. I think you probably know that already, as you can. You have a reflective surface, which is a hard surface. We call those reflective surfaces. That means it's going to bounce off something, right? So a glass, hardwood. That's why when you go into a studio, they have rugs on the floor. They have all the walls, treated. Okay, because if it's reflective, it's going to bounce right back, just like those balls. Okay, so just so you get that kind of idea, you want to. A lot of people usually start off in a closet, right? A lot of people say a closet. Hey, that's great. The closet has to have clothes in it. Now, if you're going to set it up like that and you're going to be ongoing doing things, you want consistency. So my only caveat to that is keep the same clothes in there that you would take out. So maybe like clothes that are permanent in there. And if you're going to do that, you might as well make your closet a studio. However, if you understand, it's absorbing sound, right? So it's absorbing sound. It's not soundproofing. Soundproofing would be more the noise, but the wall that would stop the noise from coming in from the outside. This is sound absorption. Okay, so you can go in that. Again, I always like something behind me as well. People have built pillow forts, couch forts, things like that. And sometimes in a pinch, I mean, I remember being on vacation and I told the story last time about how I was in Maui and I ended up, going under a coffee table and putting yoga mats and blankets over me and recording that way. But I remember being in a hotel room and the first thing, and this happens a lot, the first thing I thought of was, oh my God, where am I going to record? And I look for just places and I walk around and I listen. Right now, when I was on the movie Jexy, which is on my YouTube, I think I just posted that. That was with Adam Devine, and we basically had to set up a vocal booth every day. So we had to build a vocal booth every day, and I think I just put that up there, me recording, and you'll see the vocal booth that we built, for one of these days, and then sometimes I'd be in a car, or I'd be in a van, or I'd be, under the stairs, right? These are all places, cupboards, bookcases. These are things that you can insulate and then go into and record. So I hope that makes sense. What you want to do is just lower the vibrations in the air. Okay. So some people also use moving blankets aren't great, but they're better than nothing. Anything is better than nothing, right? So you want to make it just as dead as you can around you. I hope this makes sense. It's also, think about it, you actors out there, you've been on a set before, when the sound guy goes, playing, right? Or an air conditioner goes on, or a refrigerator plug goes on. I mean, think about all these things, right? You want to be as insulated from that as you can. Okay. So, I think that is one of the most important things that you can really think of when you're creating this whole vocal booth. Okay. So, again, I'll have more. I promise I'm going to make, videos this week and put them on my YouTube channel. So just go to YouTube, Laurie Burke, and subscribe. And I promise you, I'll have some more answers there. And I'm going to take these questions and I'm going to answer them there. And then, also if you do that. So, because last time I had so many questions and I wanted to answer them all, and there's just not enough time. So, okay, let's see. There is. Oh, good. Backstage just put up the last video. And by the way, shout out to Backstage for doing this. How great is that you can just stay home and learn so much? I mean, all their other, the other people on here are like amazing. Like, judge me by the company that I keep, because they've been really awesome. So I encourage you to look down their whole library that they've been doing now. It's just been amazing. Thank you, Katie. Okay. So I wanted to mention, do you feel they're okay? Broadcast quality, because of quality, closet. Right. Recording software. There are a lot of different recording softwares. I think, you guys are all talking to each other. I mentioned a few on here again. Audacity, GarageBand, Logic. Who has a Mac here? I would say use GarageBand because it's fantastic, I think, to start out with for sure about this. Okay, some people they're talking about prefab booths because you live in an apartment and there's a lot of noise around me that you can't control. Yes. Now, there are alternatives to prefab booths because they can be quite pricey, where you can make your own. A lot of things with maybe a PVC piping And there are sound blankets as well, but I would actually want something thicker. You really want to invest in good foam, or baffling. Okay, let's see what else. Da, 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 da. I have a Mac and use GarageBand. That's great. The soundproofing material, I'll see if I can put some of the ones that I've used on here. And where can you find work? Yeah, that's a whole other thing, right? Good thing about this is once kind of like, what was that movie? Was it The Natural? No, it wasn't. Field of Dreams, maybe. Build it and they will come. That's kind of how you have to go into this. After you get your skills up and you know what you're doing, once you have a booth, that you really feel comfortable in. That's one more thing I'd like to add. Have something you'll feel comfortable in. You can't see, but above me, I have like a cool photo that was made after a gig that I did, just to kind of inspire me. I have things around me, not that are reflective, but that I can look at, that kind of remind me. I had this contract with Rayleigh's, so I went every week and did it. And the director, sorry, sent me this because he would always go, "Okay, Laurie, just Hulu." This is in my earphone, just as direction, because I guess I sounded uptight and he just wanted me to relax. So then he sent me this. So I have this in my booth underneath a ledge. You want to make it very inviting for yourself, right? Because sometimes, like yesterday, I was in here recording I do a lot of tech stuff. I don't really know what I'm talking about, but I guess that's the talent right there, is acting like I do. But they're long sentences. They're usually written with a lot of commas. There's a lot of lists. It's a lot. So you want to be kind of inspired by what's around you. I think psychologically, you really want to be excited about what you're doing. And so it's really important that you put things like that. People have little lights, that go around, which is good. You shouldn't be in the dark, obviously. But really make it your own. Do something in there that inspires you. Put up a quote or something. Just don't put it by the microphone, and we'll be fine. Okay. Hi Bailey, how you doing? Yeah, there are great tutorials for those of us who can't build a booth because we have New York City apartments. Oh, I hear you on that. The portable square blocks. Okay, I do, because that's such a great question. I was on a shoot for Nokia, and I remember a great sound guy told me, hey, just put your head in a box, basically. Sounds like the Justin Timberlake song. Anyway, but you know what I'm talking about. Put your head in the box. Basically, what that's doing is making your booth this big, right? And yes, I do say you can do that. And again, if you were listening before, if you play um, this again from the top, you'll hear what I was saying when you just want to deaden the sound as much as you can. You can do this. I started with nothing, doing nothing, and then listening back and experimenting. And over the years, I then went into a bookcase, right? I opened up a bookcase and I put good foam. You have to put quality foam in it, to a collapsible box for on the go, which you can do. I do a lot. I travel a lot. And so I always bring my whole kit and everything on the go. And I've got all sorts of makeshift things that I do with that. They do sell the boxes already, but you can make your own. I think it's up to you whether you want to make it and save a few bucks. Now, what you do with that box typically, and you could see, I'll probably make a video on this too. You can put a microphone through the bottom of those boxes, if you know what I'm talking about, those collapsible boxes. But then you also have to see your copy. So you got to make sure about that. That's why I like building it out of like, a heavy, bigger box, right? Like wooden or something like that, or a cupboard. That's why people say a cupboard, or something that's closed like that. If you have, I know I went over another student's house and she had this closet, and then the closet, she had a shelf. And I was like, oh my God, can you move this shelf down? And now you're kind of shelved in. Right. So kind of, it's really going to be creative. And I think you're going to really like it. Will you do an on the go video? Yes, I will. I don't know if I'll do it for Backstage, but I'll definitely do it on my YouTube channel, because that is a long time coming. It's hilarious, the things that I've done that turned out okay. But there are a lot of like tricks to use there. So I will. Thank you for asking, Elise. There is a on YouTube to show how to make a little mini booth. Plastic storage bin and foam mattress topper. Okay, Let me see if I bookmarked it. Okay, that's one way to do it. I haven't used the plastic. I would probably prefer something not plastic, but I like that you're using the foam mattress. I guess that's also using it. Again, this is not for top tier voiceover booths, but if you're going to get started in it and you want to, my wish is that you really listen to yourself and you can hear the difference and learn that way, right? It's like last time when people asked me, how about the pay to play sites? I think they're great. I think you can maybe um, not count on booking something, but what it is great for, and I did this in the beginning as well, is getting used to submitting auditions and getting used to your space and getting used to the microphone. And maybe something needs to be tweaked. Maybe you need a different computer. Maybe you need a different kind of software would be easier. But I think just the more you do it and the more you train with somebody, the better you're going to be. And the better, then you can move up and spend more money and set up the booth in another way. You don't need all this equipment as a beginner. As I said in the beginning of this video as well, there are, less expensive mics. I mean, you could get an internet mic for hardly anything. I also have a little portable microphone that I use sometimes on the go. And those are basically, I use those more for auditions. But I mentioned before, I really like to make my auditions as good as possible. Do you plug your mic straight into the laptop? That is with a USB mic. And the sound mixer that you're talking about is the audio interface, which I went over, and that is usually for the condenser mics. However, you can use that with a non-condenser mic as well. It just matters which one you want. Is it possible to go through a preamp to an iPhone and then I'd get it to my desktop for editing? Okay. That is a good question. I have used different microphones on my phone, which is what I would do. Meaning like these portable microphones. I know I've used a Mikey. Oh, there goes another video I'll make. Mikey and some other ones that you can attach to your iPhone to make it better. In the case of an iPhone, though, what I would really like you to concentrate on is your space. Your space is going to be more than any kind of preamp that you're going to use with it. It's going to be your space. And then you can get it in. Again, I mentioned the Zoom, I think it's a Zoom H5 for you movie makers out there that has a built-in in there. And that's not bad. It's not bad. Now, those are a different kind of mics than, let's say, your phone mic. Mics you use are the same for podcasts. Yes. Well, for me, the mics I use, I do have different mics that I use. I have like 5 or 6 mics. So depending on what I want, they all pick up different things. Do you warm up your voice? Female voice. Oh, I've got tons of voice things that I warm up with. I did go over that a little bit in the video before that, but I'm going to add this on to the videos I'm going to make for my YouTube channel. Thank you for making this video. You're welcome. Thank you for watching. Oh, thank you, Backstage. Yeah, thank you, Backstage. Treating the car as a temporary booth. I've had to do this. I've had to do this for actual productions as well. Aside from foam, any other sound treating, stay away from the windows as much as you can. Get down in the back seat and create, sorry, Heather, that was Heather. Hi, Heather. Create as much of a box, if you will, as you can. Maybe bring, foam would be great. Bring, comforters or something like that. I mean, if you're really, really stuck, guys, this isn't like a professional booth, but if you're really, really stuck, try to make it as much as you can over you. So Heather, I would kind of build a fort in your back seat of your car if you had to do that. The only thing is, again, you can drive to someplace quiet, but there is going to be street noise. So yes, a client asked for Source Connect. That is going to be something that's going to be a huge subject. Backstage, maybe we'll do this next time. The Source Connect thing, though, just for those of you that want a little bit about it, used to be an ISDN line, was a patch that I could go into my microphone and it would go directly to the studio. Now there's Source Connect. Source Connect is an investment. I think it's $650 to start, and then you have a monthly. But it basically makes it so that you can record in your microphone with all the software, and then they get it in the studio somewhere else, and then they can record it with their systems. Again, there's lots to say about that particular thing. I absolutely think it's the wave of the future, but you absolutely, along with all the agents that are saying that, to get Source, they ask right away, do you have Source Connect, right? If you're doing an audition, they ask that. And also agents that aren't in voiceover yet that are trying to get into voiceover are asking that. They ask if you have a professional studio. They ask it because it doesn't matter if you have voice connect, they're going to hear what's around you. So you have to have both. Okay. So I hope that that answers somewhat of it. I don't know how to get the levels right on your microphone. Okay. I have a microphone, but don't know. All right. Shante, Shante with love. That's so nice. You can write me. I'm not sure what microphone you have, and I'm not sure where you're going into as far as getting your levels right. So it's really kind of hard to say that. Thank you. Yes, this is one of my, I mean, I've had so many studios over the year, but this so far, I really have enjoyed this. I really patted the crap out of it, but, and the corners and things like that. Yeah, Source Connect does charge a fee. It's almost $35. Yeah, I wouldn't do it now, guys. Don't do it unless you are an apps like I do Source Connect, but I've been doing this for many years. Don't invest in that until you are ready to go. And by ready to go, I mean, you've already done a lot of auditions. You've worked with somebody, you know your voice, you probably have an agent, or you have a really good relationships with studios directly. Otherwise, you're not going to need Source Connect. Don't get it until you're absolutely way down the line. Pro Tools is awesome, Jim. Laurie, your opinion on Pro Tools. Pro Tools, again, is awesome. When you go into a studio and you get hired for these big productions, they usually have Pro Tools. So I think it's wonderful. If you want to do it on your own, on your side, that's great too. Just know that you can master it. Can you speak on your preferred distance from the microphone? Yes, that's obviously going to be another whole thing. But obviously here's a pop filter. You can't see this from here. So I will get to that in another video. Okay, so making some demos. Put in my bio on my website. As far as ENG, just getting started making some demos, what should I put in my bio on my website? Well, I wouldn't, if you're just making your demos, I wouldn't put that. I wouldn't really, I personally think you need demos before you do anything, kind of, because then when somebody says, hey, great, we love your voice. Do you have a demo, right? You can maybe say, you know, send me links, but I hope that you've already studied and you know what you're doing. Because then people will maybe send you copy and then you send it back as an audition. I just have time for a few more. Yes, crossfad gaming. You're absolutely right about Source Connect. Tips on keeping airflow of the AC in these makeshift booths. You know, the makeshift booths, about the airflow, take breaks. I mean, I've tried all different ways. Anything that produces noise, you're not going to be happy with. You're going to have a great take and then you're like, I got to do it again or edit or whatever. I think I might do like a GarageBand video too. Let's see. Do you have another, Carlos? I'm all set up right now sitting down, but maybe next time I'll take another shot at he wanted more angles of this. You're doing great. Thanks, David. What do you suggest to do? Okay. Do you have links to where we can purchase mics? I'll have them on my YouTube. I promise I'm making these videos as soon as I can to put them up because I've been getting such great questions. And again, my hope is that this really encourages you to get into this line of work. I do think that voiceover is just such a tremendous profession, not only because I've been doing this for so long, and I love it, but also I think it's going to be more and more. And as we've seen in current circumstances, working from home is something that is also just going to get more and more, I think, popular, right? And I think start studying now, know what you're doing, set up the best booth that you can afford. And then, you know, make a demo, start getting on your journey. And I think that, and then you could go to Source Connect and these other things that we're talking about. And I think that you'll be very happy, you know, if you like this lifestyle. Now, some people start doing this and they're like, I don't like being alone this much or whatever, you know, in these walls, or I don't like saying the word, you know, fine 15 different ways, you know? So start from the bottom, really, and then just, you know, keep working and see if you really want to do that. Are you more animated when doing voiceover for animation? Am I? Yes, I am. I'm actually animated even when I'm doing just regular commercial voices. You should see me. I think I have a couple videos on that in my YouTube. So anyway, All right. I fell in love with voiceover a few years ago and haven't looked back. Good, Paul. That's what I love to hear. So, all right. I'd love to answer more questions. I have to go and wrap this up, but you guys have been lovely to tune in, and hopefully I'll be doing another one for you guys. In the meantime, if you want to get in touch with me, laurieburke.com is my website. I think these are all down there. I coach as well. And, and I had a code backstage for a discount for that. And what else was I going to say? Oh, and on YouTube, I'm going to start making videos now. You guys have really inspired me because of all the questions I've gotten. And I just want to answer all of them and help as much as I can, and kind of just grow this family of voiceover artists go and things like that. And it's just been great. So, oh, thank you. Yes. All my info, I guess, is going to be below this on Backstage's YouTube channel. So that's it. I'm going to end now, but I'm going to say thank you again. I hope you all are staying safe and healthy. And until next time, connect with me any way you can. And yeah, have a great day and keep talking. All right. Bye.